Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the British Baseball Podcast. I'm delighted to have alongside me Newark Baseball GM Kieran Gillis. Kieran, how are we?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. Just weird doing a podcast about baseball.
Yeah, tell me about it. I've been doing it since 2019 and it still feels odd to me. I'll get used to it one day. It'll probably be like my last episode. So we just had a little bit of a natter off air and to sort of get settled and get into the swing of things. So let's start off as we like to do with two baseball truths and a lie. Have you got any interesting tales to tell?
Two baseball truths and a lie. Okay. I once hit a home run. I have the most runs, I believe, for the team I'm playing for at the moment, I think. And I'd say the last one is I've stolen the most bases as well. So I'm not really sure which one the lie is going to be.
They're all lies. This is a rubbish game. I'll go with your lie being most stolen bases.
No. No, I'm joking. That is the lie.
Hey, I got one right. Yeah, I'd like to think that being able to hit a dinger being a great story. Where was it and who was it for? Or who was it against?
Unfortunately, I don't know if it counts. It was in training, but it was off the pitch though. So, it was back when we was doing warm up. It's the only home run I've actually hit out. Well, anything out the park, and I think we was in. I think it was in Leeds against the Locos about 2 seasons ago. And I was like, I've hit something out the park. I've done it now. Unfortunately, it won't be on my record, but I've done it. I've hit it. It's for me. It's just knowing I could hit that far was fine. It's just I always think if you can get one out of the park in BP, then it's still a home run. But maybe it's not. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. I'm going to have people talking saying this is absolute rubbish. This is not a home run.
Hey,
but
in BP, I bunt. I just hit off a tee with a bunt.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was looking at stats the other day, and I think I've scored the most runs so far. But I know the stats aren't 100% correct. But I could be completely wrong. I've not done that much research. I'm just going by what I last checked. But like I said, I've been playing the game for quite a long time. So
take us back to the beginning. What are your earliest memories of baseball?
This is actually kind of weird. I don't even know my brother remember. So I had a baseball bat, and I think people remember the Bronx child bats, and it used to say Bronx in it, and the O of the Bronx used to be a baseball, and they're just black and green, and they're not good bats at all. So I had one of them. I just bought one of them because I was like, I wanted to do something, whether it was any batted sport. I didn't like cricket. Like I can't do cricket, and so this baseball bat was just in my room for a long time, just doing nothing. And I just remember one day, me and my brother, I had this old Nokia phone. I was like, let's go and smash it. So we got the baseball bat, and he threw me an underarm throw, and I hit it. And it was in the garden. We hit it out onto the road where we used to live. Like, obviously, it's not the most safest thing in the world, hitting a Nokia brick phone.
Yeah, don't try this at home, kids.
Into moving traffic. It was where we used to live. We used to live in the Wolds, which is a place in Lincolnshire, which is in the middle of absolute nowhere. So there was never any traffic. And the noise it made a proper ball coming off the bat noise, and it was a phone, but it was such a satisfying noise. So that sort of was like a big deal for me. I was like, we should hit more stuff off the bat. And to the point where I was like, right, and we couldn't find anything that was worth hitting because we only had one Nokia brick phone. So, and we didn't have any baseballs because again, I wasn't majorly into it. Like, it wasn't like, right, I'm definitely going to be playing baseball. It wasn't like, right, that's it, baseball's for me. So that went back on the back burner for quite a long time. And yeah, then I started watching like It's going to sound really strange, but I started watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia,
Yeah, yeah.
and that was a big thing for me. Like that still is a big show for me, growing up. And we ended up, well, I say me ended up watching the episode. I don't know if you're familiar with the show.
I am.
There's an episode where Charlie and Mac they do the Wade Boggs challenge where they drink all the beers
Hmm.
on the plane,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they have to get a base hit. And obviously Charlie is drunk, swinging a baseball bat, and Mac is as he said, he's going to put some mustard on it and throw him the pitch. And obviously he hits it, and it's like such a dramatic scene, and he's absolutely, drunk as out. And the famous line of "What do now?" after they've hit, and that scene was like just so funny for me. It was like, you know, guys just drinking beers and then hitting dingers. And I was like, it's just such a vibe. That as well. And then I watched the film The Sandlot, which was a big one for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it sort of went slowly. It was so really slowly, like me gradually thinking, okay, maybe I really like because I've played football quite a bit. I'm no good at football. There's not really to me. People might disagree, but I don't think there's that much of a decent culture in football. It's just people just fighting all the time. And then obviously I've tried rugby. I'm not a big fan. I respect rugby though. I think it's cool. So I didn't really have a sport, and obviously I threw myself into music and stuff. So I was like, then as time went on, I just started watching baseball films, and Field of Dreams came into the play. That alone was just sealed the deal. So I just thought it was amazing. But yeah, so it sort of just gradually went from film to film, and so it was mainly from films and TV shows where I got really into it, as well as hitting a Nokia brick phone off a baseball.
So
Hill,
what are your top
so
three baseball films?
top three.
Hmm.
42,
Hmm.
Jackie Robinson story. So I'd say 42. Then I tell you what, and I don't know if many people know this one. The Last Season, it's on Amazon Prime. It's free. It's about a coach who has to try and save a dying baseball team. So that was really good. And the I think the last one I'd say would either be Field of Dreams, which I know is a bit cliche. I know I don't know. There's more. There's multiple. There's Field of Dreams. There's Bench Warmers, which I thought was really funny. That's going back quite a bit. But there's also one that Johnny Knoxville released, but it's a softball one called
Yeah.
Home Sweet Home or Sweet Home or something like that. And that's a really good film. And I'd say actually that's probably one of the top ones for me. And it's a softball film, but the premise is there.
I love it.
But well, Johnny Knoxville used to be a college baseball pitcher, so which not many people know. Hence why when you watch his films, his aim when he throws is so good because he used to college. So, but then he did his arm in but yeah, he needs the film's about an ex-baseball player who obviously was turned into a bit of an alcoholic, so he had to go to AA meetings, and the AA house is getting shut down. So it's the cliche. Funny enough, the amount they need is the tournament winning
Yeah.
prize. So it was a whole thing, but it's such a good film, and it only came out this year, and I think it's going to get it's going to get underseen. Like not many people are going to see it, sort of thing. But it was a really good film though. It's got that Theo Von, whatever his name is, the really funny guy. Bobby Lee's in it, the Korean guy, and that. But it's really good film, and the premise of it's good, and there's
Yeah.
a lot of baseball, a lot of softball action in it. So I was like, that's sick. But yeah, because I only watched 42 the other day, because I really wanted to watch it after so long. It's such a good film, 42, and the story, the whole story, and the whole message on the story as well is just so good.
Yeah.
Oh.
So let's get back to the British side of baseball. Which was your first British baseball club, and how did you discover it?
The first club that I ever sort of came across was weirdly, it was weirdly Wragby, because I didn't know anything about British baseball at all. Like I didn't know those teams. I just wanted to start a baseball club. But then obviously before we go into all that, I'd say the first team was actually Hull Scorpions, as weird as that sounds.
Yeah.
Obviously due to obviously future later on in the podcast and that. Because Kevin McAdam, he rang me when I was looking at teams and stuff, and he said that he was, he has a lot of connections with Hull. So I looked up Hull. Leicester Blue Sox were actually one of the other ones, weirdly,
Hmm.
as well as the history of like Nottingham Rebels and stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's a few teams that I sort of researched after hearing there was actually a whole thing, like a whole big organization of British baseball. I just, as soon as I heard about it, I just started looking up other teams. Like I said, Hull being one of them, Leicester, Nottingham Rebels, and I think Sheffield Bruins I ended up reaching out to at one point as well. Quite a long time ago, like, but
Like you
yeah,
said,
no,
then like a lot of them were quite a fair distance, so you ended up starting your own team.
yeah, yeah. So um, I kind of got bored after so long of just doing other things like music and that, and I at this point I'd really have thrown myself into baseball. I've been a big fan of it. Um, you know, really thrown myself into it. Watching the Phillies all the time as much as I can, staying up until 2 a.m., 3 a.m., watching the films, collecting baseball cards, um, just buying my own gear and just going to a field and just hitting a baseball. Um, I say buying my own gear. I didn't know anything about baseball at the time, so I was buying them cheap Slazenger bats, which break after one pitch. Just anything, really cheap glove that was falling apart. And I sort of just reached out and I was like, I think I was struggling to make friends as well. That was the other thing, because I was fairly new to the area still.
Yeah.
I just put out online saying, "Does any guys or anyone want to meet up in the park just for like a catch?" As weird as it sounds. Um, and then I had that. Obviously, before that even came about, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try and start a baseball club. So I looked into it, spoke to Kevin quite a bit, and he was telling me the ins and outs, what I need, like insurance and this, that, and the other. And so I just started promoting it as much as I can, and then we had a really, really decent turnout of people that had never played, people that have played cricket, people that have played in the past. And it just went from there. And then these people knew these people. They started bringing them, and next thing you know, we had a baseball team in Rugby,
Were you
which was
surprised at how quick that snowballed and
yeah,
developed into a thing?
yeah, definitely. Like in my opinion, obviously I'm the founder because it was me that got the wheels, like got the whole thing. It was me that got people there to play, but there was many other people who were founders as well, like because they're the ones that made the team what it is today. They're still there. Don't get me wrong, like they're all still there. Like Albin's is still there, but Alan did come a lot later. Um, you know, but he's still there. Matt Sutton, the coach, he was a very big part of it. Harry Hadlingham, their pitcher, and also I think he's the groundsman still. He was a massive part. Him and the guy called Lee Lawton, they were massive parts as well. Um, I made a lot of mistakes whilst I was there, which was one of the reasons for me leaving. Um, moving to a different team. And but like I said, they've made the team what it is today, and it's for me, it's happy to see the team still there and still going strong.
Yeah.
Like bridges have been built between me and them. So I was there last weekend when they were playing against Hull, because obviously it's my two old teams. I was also picking up some equipment as well and stuff. But yeah, we had a good chat. Me and Mitch, the manager, we're having a good chat about Newark potentially doing a friendly against them at some point.
Awesome.
That, but yeah, so yeah, that was my first team, and obviously, going from there, building, trying to get permission to build land and like not land, sorry, build the mound and stuff. That came relatively easy. We sort of went over the heads of the of the football a little bit and went straight to the owner of the field, the guy that actually owns the field, and he was all for it. And then I'd say as soon as we got, from what I can remember, as soon as we got permission for the mound and stuff and building like backstop and that, Harry and Matt, because I believe Matt works in construction anyway, so he knew his shit. I'm sorry.
So good. There's an explicit warning.
Yeah, sorry, man.
So good.
I've tried so hard. So Matt knew his stuff. He's very hands-on, construction, I believe. Harry is very good at groundsman work, like grounds work and stuff. Like they're really good guys. Um, you know, and it's just constant. Like Harry, from what I remember, he was always down there on his own, just doing little bits, which kept on top and stuff. And I was down at like I said, I was down at their diamond last week, and it's so good. It's got the sort of the DIY feel to it. It's got the family feel to it. It's got the
Yeah,
got personality, which I think the team that Rugby are being like one of the smaller teams. I think due to location, they have such good diamond. It's so good. But yeah, no, it was good. It's just glad I'm just happy to see them still going and still going
excellent.
strong.
Yeah. So now you've started up a new team in Newark, the Newark Nationals.
Yeah.
And what have you learned from starting Wragby that you've been able to implement with this one? I mean, was like well, yeah. I'm trying to rephrase the question, yeah. But how have you found starting the Wragby, and then how's that helped you to form the Nationals?
Um. So obviously the Nationals the same thing. Obviously currently I'm playing for Leicester Blue Sox, and it's like a 45, 50-minute drive. But before Leicester, I was playing at Hull. And when I still lived in Wragby, I was having to drive an hour and whatever, hour and 15 to Hull for training in like Tuesdays, and then do the same again on Sundays. Obviously, that's an hour and 15 there, an hour and 15 back, then same again on Sundays. A lot of driving. I did that for nearly 2 years. Um, Hull, when I played for them, was probably my favourite time in baseball.
Yeah,
Um, Such a good team. Like, they're currently going for development stage with a lot of new players. They're like family at this point. That team, I have the utmost respect for that team, the utmost time for that team, because they Hall took me in at one of the worst times for me, and made me love the sport again because I fell out of love with the sport at one point. They sort of took me back um, into the sport, and you learn a lot from the coaches they have there, a lot of discipline, a lot of maturity as well, um, which I'll get into shortly. But no, they're absolutely fantastic. But yeah, so then obviously transitioning, moving to Newark for like personal reasons and obviously work and stuff, and starting a whole new life. I was like, because I wasn't playing baseball because obviously I was moving and busy and couldn't really afford it. Um, I started playing for Leicester, and Leicester are absolutely fantastic. I enjoy playing for Leicester. They're really nice guys, great team as well. The morale is good. Game days are always fun and that. But for me, it's if I can find a team that's even closer than that, like anything under an hour for me is great.
yeah, yeah,
But after the commute to Hull a lot, um, but yeah, anything under an hour is great. I mean, I'll always commute for baseball because I just love it. And I was like, there used to be a baseball history in Newark. They used to have two teams back in like I think it was like the early 90s and the early 2000s. They had the Newark Yankees and the Newark Giants. Um, and luckily for us, I tried to start something back in November, like an idea, and I thought it's a bit late to be starting something. And there was a bit of interest from the older players, like there's a guy called Chris who's actually now our head coach, who used to play for the Newark Yankees, and his knowledge is just so good
yeah,
and so helpful. But yeah, so I tried to start something and couldn't really start. So I was like, right, I'm just going to find a team that just need players that are already going, so it saves any of like the ball ache of trying to start a team. So I started playing for Leicester. Then after a while, I was like, I'm going to try to start a team in Newark, and I was like, I'm going to do it because I for me, I was like the mistakes that I made at Wragby put me off the idea. And at the time when I was trying to start a team before, just not long after Wragby, I was like, I'm not mature enough. I've not got the right head to be doing this. But since then, obviously, sorting out my personal life, doing this, that, and the other. I've got to a point where I'm like, right, I can start a team. I've just got to not do the same mistakes I've done in the past with thinking I can do it all myself, doing this, doing that. Because you try and do it all yourself, you're getting things mixed up, mistakes are made, you make bad decisions. And that's always been like a thing going into this new team for me is don't do it all myself.
yeah,
Don't think I can do this, do that, do this. Oh, we could just do this willy nilly. It's fine. You got to do it all professionally. You got to do it all efficiently.
Hmm.
Hence why I've appointed Russ as chairman, so I don't have to deal with that. Appointed Chris as one of the as the head coach. A lad called Luke as an assistant coach, and we've got a guy called Darren Pugh, who's been training with us quite a bit with his son Ashton, who obviously they're baseball crazy. They are like, they go traveling all over the place with baseball.
Lovely.
But yeah, he's a big part because he's actually part of the BBF as well, as is. So I've appointed them. Obviously, we're appointing a treasurer soon as well. When you first start in the team, it's just a bunch of guys just meeting up, having a throw, playing baseball, having a laugh. But then when you actually want to join the league and the seasons and stuff, you've got to have a governing body. You've got to have a constitution. Stuff that I never really put into place when I was at Wragby. Hence why when I say, yeah, I founded the team, I was the guy that got it started, but I'm not the guy that got it where it was, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man.
The people at Wragby, like Mitch, Alan, Harry, Matt, and a few other guys, they're the real Wragby Warhammers. They're the real people that got it going. And I learned a lot being at Hull, maturity as well, and like how to sort of deal with how to run a team, how to put constitution into place, how to have like coaches, who's doing what, who's doing this. Because Hull, they had that many people doing different things. It ran smoothly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's disagreements. There always is. But for me, the main thing that I've took from my experience in baseball, learning, taking advice from other people who have been in it a lot longer than me, is to take care of every detail, whether it's the constitution, the accounts, your players, your insurance, who's playing, who's doing what. Be hands-on with a lot of it, but you can't do it all on your own because it will just like you will make mistakes because you're doing it all on your own. And that's one of the main things I took into the Newark team is appointing people in positions so I don't have to worry about it as much. Like I don't have to worry about the training sessions as much because Chris is a fantastic head coach and it was the best choice I made. Russ is very savvy with paperwork and IT stuff and being a chairman and just being organised and mature because he's a fantastic guy, absolutely fantastic person. And Luke, who appointed as an assistant coach, fantastic player. He's doing he's just got the knowledge. He's I think he's about the same age as me. And his energy and his commitment is just so good. And for me, like I look at the Newark team as like a second chance of starting a team and getting it right. And at the moment, it's going absolutely perfect. And just it just keeps going well. And because anything that the BBF have told me to do, well, insurance stuff, just done it. Not pissed about, not done this, not done that, just done it.
Yeah.
Because I'm so committed on getting a team in Newark and having a community in Newark. Obviously, we're in touch with the council. They've been really good to us. They want to do some youth program stuff with us. We're sorting out friendlies for the end of September. One of them with Wragby, and potentially one with Hull. That's still to be announced and still to be discussed. They both are really, but we could potentially have our first official games at the end of September as a team. But yeah, so I'd say going into the Newark team is just not doing it, not taking the full credit, not doing it myself. Having these people appointed has been probably the main change that I've done, and being more just hands-on with the sessions themselves and just more being bothered about the players and make sure everyone's happy, and just having that sort of community feel.
Yeah.
More than anything. And just remember, it's not just my team; it's everyone's team.
Yeah, it really sounds like baseball is a massive part of your life. So, how important is baseball to you? Like, what do you think your life would be like without baseball?
like I do a lot of stuff anyway. Um, but baseball, I'd say, is a big part of my life. Like my girlfriend, she at some point is probably going to get sick of me talking about baseball because I talk about baseball all the time. But she lets me talk about baseball and she listens
Hmm.
because like a lot of people like are bandmates. If I talk about baseball, they'll be like, they probably don't care. They probably don't care. But um, when I've been up with girlfriends and that, she's been absolutely fantastic. Um, you know, letting me talk about baseball and just listening to me talk about baseball a lot, even to the point I made her watch the London game with Phillies and Mets, and she really enjoyed it. She said so. It's good that I can take baseball into my personal life as well. Um, but baseball in general for me is such a big deal. Mentally as well, like it's been being able to just hang out playing baseball for a few hours is great, and it's good for my off time, like when I'm not working or not away or doing well playing gigs and stuff. Like it's my other pastime, hence why it's called America's pastime. Because it passes the time and it clears your head as well, which I'm sure 99% of the players who play in British baseball, from Hull to Rugby to wherever, they'll probably all agree and say it clears your head and it takes you out of your day to day life for a few
Yeah.
hours.
I
But
must say that's one of the things I miss most is the mental health aspects of it. For
yes,
me, training was just about being in the open air, getting out of the house, and there's just something really um distracting about just having a game of catch. Just warm-ups, just a bit of BP, if you had a bad day or you had some stresses and you didn't know how to sort of communicate it or get it out, there's nothing that a little baseball training session couldn't fix, and I've stepped away from a lot of baseball activities this year, apart from the podcast, and I'm more now into helping my little one with his baseball activities down
good
in
man.
Manchester.
That's
So I'm
great.
still able to get down to the field, and I still feel like I'm connected in a way, but that sort of gap and that hole that it sort of left when I wasn't training or playing
Yeah,
was really, really hard to fill. But I think actually, that's not true. It wasn't hard to fill. It was struggling to find something for me to fill it with. Like I had plenty of family time that was open up to me because baseball wasn't part of it, which was paramount to me. It's very key. So as much as I missed the baseball side of things, spending time with the family was
yeah.
priceless. You
For
can't
me,
beat it.
like when I was going into the whole Newark team, like I was already playing baseball, but I was like, it was already with an established team, and you know, like Leicester are great. I'm very happy there and that, but I did make them aware, obviously, that I'm starting a Newark team and stuff, and they've been really supportive. To be fair, they've been really good because I was a bit worried how they're going to take it. Obviously, you're at a team already.
Hmm.
Why are you starting a new team? Um, I have made them aware. Obviously, if the team does pick off and we do get into the league, then obviously that is going to be my team because I can't really afford to play for two different leagues.
True.
uh, and yeah, so we just sort of went into it. For me, it's like even if it didn't turn into a full team and it was more of a youth program and coaching baseball, I was still willing to do that because it's involved in baseball.
Yeah.
Like anything to do with baseball, I was happy to do. Um, but obviously, like you said, it has snowballed into it's a full team. We have training sessions. We have pitching workshops now at the training sessions, which Chris, our head coach, does because he used to be a pitcher. So we're full on going to be taking the sessions into the winter as well with the indoor facilities that we have available. So it's going to be constant until the new season because we need the extra training. Obviously, we've got a lot of people that have just started. Luckily, we've got a lot of people around the team who've got knowledge who already play. Um, Daz Pugh, he's been a massive help with knowledge. He's like a baseball. I don't know what the word is, but he just
Encyclopedia.
that's the one. Big
There
words.
you go.
He just knows his stuff, and he's been so helpful. Obviously, he only can come when he can because he's so busy with his son, who plays his son. Is a fantastic player. Um, a really nice lad as well, very polite as well. Um, and just meeting these people from starting this team has been fantastic. And um, being obviously connected with Wragby, talking to them recent, Mitch, the coach, the GM there has been absolutely fantastic. He can't be any nicer and supportive with his new team because I think the idea we've got is the fact that Newark is on the border of Lincolnshire where Wragby is.
Yeah.
Wragby being the only team in Lincolnshire. Newark did actually used to be Lincolnshire, but then it got changed to Nottinghamshire. And the idea was if we get if the team carries on going as going, it's going to turn into a full thing. We can have like a good road trip from Newark, Wragby, Hull. It's sort of like one sort of scoop around. And if we add Sheffield into that, you can sort of go round.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a square or something like that. And it's really cool. And Mitch has been absolutely fantastic. Like he said, it's nice to see it going well. And, so I have nothing but the utmost respect for, Wragby being quite supportive of a new team and Mitch being really supportive of their GM. So it's really nice to see teams supporting other teams. Hull have been nothing but respectful and nothing but supportive of a new team, with them being my old team as well and being me still being part of the Scorpions family and that. I didn't expect anything but support from them. Didn't expect anything negative from them. We haven't had any negative comments, anything. We've just had good support. Like we've had people donate. Like I got a pitch machine and the fireball machine from Hull the other week, which was really good of them. And a few bases and stuff. I got the council have kindly bought us our first lot of equipment, which is obviously we've now got, which is bats and balls and gloves. With the absolute basics we need. Obviously, I went and got some bases and stuff, and home plate. And I'm trying to think what else. A guy from Northern Tyrants or something. I think it's Tyrants.
Centurions.
Centurions, that's it. I made this mistake in front of his face yesterday.
Wah, wah.
An outfield fencing from him yesterday, which he's kindly gifted us a full catcher's gear.
Brilliant.
which is a big deal for us because that's expensive stuff.
Yeah, man.
So we've got the helmet, the face guard, chest guard, and the leg plate. All you need. So he's an absolute lovely guy, and he was the president of the Centurions, and really nice guy. Gifted us gear, and he's on about doing a friendly. So the support we've got is why I love baseball in the UK so far. Is the support, and it just shows that people love the sport.
Yeah, helping it to grow. It's all growing, extra teams, extra players. It's what the sport needs.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. And like I've just come off a meeting to literally before here. It's one of the reasons why I was running late. With the groundsman at the academy that we're based at in Newark.
Yeah.
Because we haven't got any lines down yet, so we are very sandlot style. We've just got bases down in the right measurements. One of them might be a little bit off, but it's all right. He's agreed to put some lines down for us, and he wants me to go back in the next week or so we can actually put some lines down. The lines have got to be different colour, unfortunately, because there's football pitches and stuff as well.
Yeah.
But I don't think the BBF mind if we have blue lines. As long as there's lines, we're probably all right about it. But yeah, no, it's like I said, it's been literally constant. It's been go from day one. And like I said, anything that I've needed to do, I've had to do. Field wise, like we did start on a place called Devon Park in Newark, so we did start on there, and we had one session on there which absolutely belted it down. We all hid under a tree until it stopped raining, and then we carried on. And that was a really good session. That was obviously the first time we met everyone, and like I said, it's been go from there really, and we just carried on. Then we went to a place called Balderton, which was they have like a cricket green. Went there. They weren't too happy about us being there, because apparently you have to pay to play on a public park. First time I've heard of that. But we were polite with them. Like I said, I've kept it as professional as I can with anyone that's contacted us council wise and parish council wise and stuff. Because obviously we don't want to fall out with anyone. We just want to help build the sport in a new area.
Mm.
Well, sort of new area because they've had baseball before. But recruitment wise, it's been really good as well. So yeah, that's good.
Cool. We're coming towards the close of the episode. It's been lovely to chat to you, but we can't leave without talking music. You're in a band called Parallel States.
Yeah, yeah, busy. Yeah, they're great. It's fun. It's really fun being in that band. And we've not been gigging out as much as we usually do because there's been a lot of commitments work wise and new jobs and stuff for people. Our next gig is at the end of July in London, which will be fun. So that's going to keep us busy. Obviously, I'm going to hit the home run house while we're there,
Indeed.
and the Phillies bar, because it'd be rude if I didn't. But yeah, so yeah, we're constantly busy. We're currently in the process of writing a new album, and obviously, I really want to do a baseball themed music video, and the idea keeps getting ignored. So I wait. So we're hopefully. My idea is obviously we get another baseball team, and then we have Parallel States have their own baseball team, where it's just like a load of like, rugrats and stuff, people that have, that aren't baseball players. They're just a bunch of alcoholics, maybe. And they just turned up to play baseball against an actual baseball team. We get absolutely battered. That's the idea of the team, of the video. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see if they'll let us there. If I say they, the drummer and the bass player, the other two members of the band, I'll see if they'll let me actually have that idea or not. But
keep pestering. What sort of flavor do you think your band has? I got some really interesting like Green Day vibes from what I was listening to.
yeah, so we got described once as if Green Day played Blink-182 songs. That was the way someone described our band. We've been people compared us to Blink, to Green Day, to the Bouncing Souls. I got that once. That was a big deal for me because I love the Bouncing Souls. Someone said The Offspring. So for anything 90s, pretty much, because there's not many bands playing 90s pop punk, 90s skate punk anymore.
Yeah.
They've all gone to the very whiny, modern pop punk. So we've sort of kept to the raw, very distorted, very fast sort of 90s era of pop punk, which is great. And it works well for us. And I couldn't ask for better bandmates. They've been, them two have got me through a lot, and as well as our behind the scenes sort of person, which is the bass player's partner. She's done a lot for the band as well, like designs and stuff in the past, and doing the music video for us as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that group of people have been absolutely fantastic. To be, to say I'm in a band with them too, Jack and Sam. I couldn't ask for any better. I couldn't ask for better bandmates because they're really good, and they're supportive with me when I talk about baseball. So when they listen, but yeah, no, it's great. It's absolutely fantastic playing in a band with them because they were there when I actually started the rugby team.
Yeah.
So I was in the rugby team, and I remember finishing training when the rugby team was still very new. You get everyone turning up in like jerseys and stuff just because there's a baseball team. So I was turning up in Phillies jersey as well as my full kit, looking like a full kit,
Yes.
And yeah, just because I loved the Phillies, and then I'd go from there to band practice in a Phillies outfit because obviously we practiced in Wragby at one point as well. There's an old studio in Wragby, so we used to practice there. And I'd finish training, then run straight from training back home, get my guitar and my amp, go straight from there, then to the studio, which was down the road. Didn't have time to change or shower or anything.
Delightful. You're keeping that 90s music vibe going.
Yes.
Brilliant. Kieran, this has been fantastic. Can't leave without finding out what your one wish for British baseball is, and then shout outs do you want to give? The floor is all yours.
Sorry, what was that? What was that first one?
Your one wish for British baseball.
one wish for British baseball would be if and again, it might be a bit controversial, I don't know, but if the BBF and the bigger organisations, like the governing bodies, could focus more on Northern baseball. So, like, going from like us to Hull, teams higher up, not just London-based stuff, if that makes sense. Like, if like I know we've got Farndon and stuff, but if they could have like something like that in Sheffield area or that sort of area, because I feel like that sort of baseball gets ignored a lot, personally. By the higher ups, the governing body and stuff. Like, don't get around, the governing body are fine, but I do feel like they're very much London focused and the South, which again, it's I don't know, I don't know how easy it is to do that, but I just feel like they should be able to. I feel like they've got enough funding, surely, to focus on the smaller teams in the north. I'm not saying Newark because I'm starting a new team in Newark. I mean, teams that are already established like Wragby, Sheffield Blade Runners, Hull, Newcastle Nighthawks and stuff like that. Like even Durham Spartans as well. Durham Spartans, they're only a small team. They're a really nice team as well. And Stockton Grizzlies as well. I mean, they're a bit more south, but they're really nice guys. But yeah, I just think the BBF should focus more on their smaller teams, not just their London teams. But that's just my personal opinion. Obviously, I could be completely wrong. I could have no clue. They might already be doing stuff. I don't know. But from what I've seen, I've not seen them really doing anything online in that. But they could have stuff in the works. You don't know. Mm-hmm. But I just think I just think they need to spread it out a bit more if they really want to get it out there. And they should promote in starting teams and not rely on people like myself, the guys at Wragby, the guys at Stockton, the guys at Durham and stuff like that. People just starting teams themselves. They should be relying on, they should be helping that. Like, I had an interview last week with the BBF. Lee was really helpful. And he did tell me a few stuff which was being more focused on the northern side of things. But I feel like the quicker they get on with it, I think the more people want to get involved, because they don't want teams just in London. Obviously, they want teams all around the UK.
Yeah.
So I just think they need to focus more on the northern side of things, as well, and sort of merging it all together as well. I think, but yeah, no, that's just mine. One take on British baseball, really.
Cool. And finally, the floor's all yours for any shout outs or anything you want to say before we go.
Shout outs, really for me, it's just, I feel like people should look at their local clubs, help their local clubs, if it's by just going, attending the games, watching the games, supporting the players, supporting the teams, because they are, they're your baseball team of your town or your village. People at home, go and support Hull Scorpions, because they're such a nice team. They've got such a nice setup as well. It's so good. They've even got
a great park.
They've got bleachers now. They've got a place for people to sit.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have people supporting them, because they're such a good team. Same with Wragby. Wragby obviously they haven't got bleachers, but the people bring deck chairs. They have got a decent sort of like people watching and stuff. But any team you've got, from Hull to Wragby to Stockton to Durham, go and support them and watch them and even join, because they're always welcoming numbers. Like, people are always welcoming numbers. Like, that's what we've done. Like, we've took anyone in at Newark, like people that have never played before, people that have played before. As long as you're a nice person, you enjoy the sport, come on down. That's the way I look at it. So I say, get involved as much as you can, whether it's fundraising, whether it's setting the diamond up, whether it's maintenance, playing, support your local team, for sure.
Brilliant. Kieran, thanks so much. All the best for your baseball in future, and hopefully we'll see you band on the road sometime soon too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's about time we got we finally got this interview sorted.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's been a while coming, but yeah, thanks for coming on eventually, and for sharing your stories. It's been really great.
No, I appreciate it.
I do. Take it easy.
Thank you.